Welcome to Positive Living with Lolo. I am Lolo, and today I have with me Katie. Katie is somebody that I went to Ocean Small Business Training with. It's like a Christian-based business class that gives you basically the full outline on how to build a business plan. That was a 9-week course. It was 9 weeks, and then for 6 months we meet afterwards.
Yeah, we're on our last one now.
I know, which is really crazy.
Yeah.
So Katie met me right when I'm like trying to do all my dog stuff that I do. I walk dogs and I pet sit. So she knows that part of everything that I'm doing, but then also the podcast stuff, because I went to the group and told them that this is what I wanted to be doing, and then I just did it. So Katie has her own business, which is Wabi Sabi Threads, which is like a kimono, which is she's wearing. And then she also has a podcast, so we're going to talk about both of those things today. So let's start with
Thanks for having me,
Yes.
Lauren. I'm excited.
Yes, let's start off with how you're doing. Just how are you doing? How's life?
All's well here, staying warm in this little chilly week.
Polar vortex. Like what?
Yeah.
Is it cold down in Lexington?
Yeah,
like here?
it was single digits the last few days, but snow is not as much usually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel like snow makes it a little less cold. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you walk out and there's no snow, but it's 0 degrees, it's like what?
Yep.
Dang.
Yep.
Okay, so let's talk about Wabi Sabi. Okay, wait. First I want to let you guys know that we're going to be making coffee mugs. I feel like all of my episodes have been where we're just like sitting there and talking, and then that's it. So while we're sitting here and talking, I'm going to try to get creative in every episode. So we're going to make coffee mugs. And I thought about that because I really wanted to make coffee mugs before I started doing Positive Living with Lolo. I wanted to make coffee mugs for each person, but that became too much and way too overwhelming with everything else I have going on. But so then I made these, and they were hashtag Positive Living with Lolo, and I just put flowers on it.
You made that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have some competition. I don't know if I can do that beautiful writing there.
I just like freehanded it and freehanded the little flowers at the bottom.
Pretty.
This is like as creative as I get. So I got some stencils for us. So that's what you guys will see us be doing here. We'll be talking and working at the same time. If you guys have any ideas of things that we could do in future episodes, please let me know, because I want to make this great for not only the person that I'm talking with, but also for the viewers. So anyways,
I'm excited. I love multitasking, so hopefully I can concentrate on both.
Yeah.
What verse did you say? What verse you had on there?
This is Acts 20:35, and basically we just read it. It's
giving more than receiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a gift to give more than receive.
Yeah.
Which I need to do a whole episode on that, because just because it's a gift to give and not receive does not mean that you shouldn't receive, and it doesn't mean that the people that you're constantly gifting shouldn't be giving. There needs to be a balance.
Sure.
That's another day though.
That's true.
Because it's rough out here for good people, man, I swear. So let's talk about Wabi Sabi. What does Wabi Sabi means? Because just that word alone is beautiful.
Yeah, so I started Wabi Sabi when we were still living in Japan. So Wabi Sabi is Japanese, and these are all vintage, one-of-a-kind Japanese kimonos. So Wabi Sabi, loosely translated, means to embrace imperfect beauty. So in Japan, a common way to say, oh, that's Wabi Sabi, is if a tea bowl breaks, they believe that you should not throw it away, don't get rid of it. They actually fill it in with a gold paint, gold glue kind of thing, and they believe the new bowl is more beautiful than the original. So yeah, that's kind of a very common Wabi Sabi example in Japan. So yeah,
I've seen that on Facebook a long time ago.
So
well, no, I seen the whole bowl, the bowl thing.
Yeah, with gold, even a
yeah,
picture.
But you never know what to believe on Facebook.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, that one. Yeah, there's a lot of other cultural things that sometimes aren't 100% accurate. So yeah, I started the business when we were in Japan, and I've always wanted to be a business owner. I love the idea. I'm learning how much work it is and how much time it can take, but I still love almost everything about it. And so when we first moved to Japan, which was in 2015.
From here?
Yep.
From
we
Cincinnati?
were in Cincinnati, yep,
Okay.
and then Japan. Now we're in Lexington, Kentucky. So when we first moved to Japan, I felt like from the start I was going to bring a piece of the culture home with me. So the first thing I thought, well, I just got certified to teach group fitness before we moved there. And so I thought, oh, it's probably going to be group fitness of some sort. And there's Tai Chi is common over there, but I move pretty fast. It's a pretty slow, nice stretch, cool down thing. But
Yeah.
for me to teach that, I don't think I have the patience to teach that whole class. So then I thought it was going to be drumming. Did I tell you this story before?
Yeah.
So I thought it was going to be a traditional drumming. It was called taiko. And it's a very strong tradition in Japan. They do it at festivals. It's a big thing. But it takes a lot of practice. And so I thought, okay, I came home, told my husband, I am going to teach taiko drumming. And he was like, Katie, like you just learned how to keep beat less than a year ago. I couldn't even keep rhythm or beat. And so how are you going to teach this drum class? I was like, I don't care. I'm going to do it. I'm going to work hard. I'm going to teach it. And then he's like, well, the drums start at like $10,000. How are you going to afford a drum for a whole class? I was like, I don't care, I'm going to do it. I'm going to find a way. So I was set on taiko drum, and I went to a few classes, and they didn't speak any English. I took a few friends with me a few different times, worked really hard to make that initial connection, and then after 2 or 3 classes, I finally asked the instructor, okay, if I want to do this in the US, I have 1 year left in Japan. How many songs can I learn? Because every time we went, we were doing the same song. And she said, maybe 1 song. Maybe you can learn 1 song in a year. I was like, oh, this is not realistic. Like, how am I supposed to teach this if I only know 1 song? So I finally scratched that one off on my own. And then in March of 2017, we moved home in fall of 2017. My husband's sister, so my sister-in-law came to visit, and I have a background in fashion. I went to Ohio State for fashion and business, and then my sister-in-law also went to college for fashion, so she wanted to buy a kimono while she was in Japan. Definitely, totally agree, but I had been working on hand sewing my own, so I had never looked into buying a kimono. Well, they cost thousands and thousands of dollars, so she thought, well, can we get a used one maybe for cheaper? So I looked up some other vintage places, and we went to one shop, walked in, I look around, and there's just aisles and aisles of kimonos, these beautiful garments just sitting there, not being used. And I immediately was like, I need to take these back to the US.
It was like a thrift store?
Yeah, but this was only for kimonos. And so when I step in there, I'm like, kimonos are everywhere. They're still everywhere. I don't believe they're going to go out of trend. Some sort of shrug or garment with loose fitting. People love loose fitting things, especially if it's lightweight, you can wear it all year.
Yeah.
I really don't believe it's going to go out of trend. Maybe the name will be different. But yeah, so I'm like, kimonos are everywhere. Even these fake ones, even in Japan, now they're at Forever 21, H&M, Target, all over Japan too, they're showing up fake ones. I thought, these are the real thing. If I'm trying to be authentic in my life, and I have the chance to show this authentic garment to people in the US or other parts of the world, why don't I bring the real thing in a new way? So a real kimono worn over jeans like I have today. So that's kind of what I did. I had this idea, I tested it out in Columbus. We were home for 1 week in spring of 17. And then I launched my website, it was early June of 17, online from Japan. And then I have been going since then. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, the Embracing Imperfect Beauty kind of goes along with my mission with Wabi Sabi Threads. It's always been more than just selling clothes. I'm just not trying to make money selling these kimonos. But I really want to make a difference in women's lives and encouraging them to embrace their imperfect beauty. So that's our little logo. It says Wabi Sabi Threads, Embracing Imperfect Beauty. So each week, currently, I'm featuring a different woman and asking her, how do you embrace imperfect beauty? I had Lauren last fall. She shared hers last fall with us. So I post that on social media. And then also just trying to give back a portion of sales. I do rotating charities that are women run or women focused. So the last one and current one, Grameen America, I believe it's how it's pronounced, if you've seen anything about it that I've posted. But they support women entrepreneurs who can't afford to start a business to bring their family out of poverty.
Okay.
So trying to give back through
That's
that.
amazing.
Yeah, so that's kind of my goal there with having this fashion brand. And now we carry these handmade purses from Bali. That also started from, we had a trip to Bali while we were in Japan, and people were complimenting me on this purse nonstop, so I thought, okay, I guess I have to get a buyer set up and ship them over to me. So
right.
yeah, that's currently what Wabi Sabi is doing.
Okay. So the foundation what is it called? What is it?
The current one I'm donating, it's called Grameen America. So
How do you spell that?
I'm not 100% sure if I'm pronouncing it correct. Grameen, I believe.
Okay.
Yep. So I actually found them through Spanx. They had them tagged somewhere, somehow, and I was clicking around.
Okay.
It's just kind of an open donation opportunity that I don't have to commit to anything. So,
Right.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yep.
That's a great. Did you research like who founded that and all that other stuff?
I think it's on their website somewhere. Yeah, I did some research, but I haven't personally talked to anyone yet.
Yeah.
Since I'm kind of waiting. I'm trying to do it on a quarterly basis, rotating now.
Okay.
In the summer with some of the bigger shows, I was trying to do it monthly, but
Yeah.
I switched to quarterly now, just so I
Okay.
can kind of give a little bit more to one. So
Right.
Yeah.
Which is really, really incredible. But that sounds like just such like an organization that you would definitely be
Yeah,
involved in.
I love
Like,
it.
that-
Yeah,
you would.
I'm so excited to hear it.
Yeah, that's great that you give back. I think that's such an important part of life.
Yeah.
That it's easy when we're in the midst of like trying to figure out what we want to do, how we want to do it, and stuff like that. It's easy to forget about giving back
Yeah.
and about the people that don't have anything.
Yeah.
So
And also like, oh, I'm not making enough, so I can't give back yet. I'm like,
exactly,
well, no,
you'll make more.
and based on faith principles, despite what
Right.
your religious beliefs are, I believe that I will be provided with what I give
Yes.
out. So yeah.
That's facts, and I 100% believe that too. I know when I started tithing with Crossroads, I have never seen so much in my life like happen that was all good. Like it was
Yeah.
like just it's been blessing after blessing, really.
That's awesome.
So
That's
I
really
think
cool.
I think that's really important to give back and doing it in whatever way you can, whether it be 2% of your income or 10% of your income, and depending on who it's to, it's like that's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you went to Japan, tell me about Japan, like that experience, because
Um,
that has to be culture shock for one.
Oh yeah, it's the complete opposite over there. Yeah, stop me when I start talking too long because I can talk about Japan for hours. Well, we were in the 4th largest city, Nagoya, and even though it was the 4th largest city, it wasn't very touristy, so
Okay.
not a ton of foreigners. We pretty much knew most of them. There were a few major companies that brought over expats from the US or Europe or Australia, but there weren't a ton of foreigners. So I stood out with my blonde hair and being almost 5'9".
Yeah.
If I wore heels, like I was gonna be stared at. But the funny thing was, when I wore a kimono, I actually got stared at more. I was like, come on, I would wear a kimono or a summer kimono, and like the whole train would be staring. I was like, what? I'm part of the culture now.
Well, so were they staring, do you think, because you wore it differently?
No, I heard they're just like in awe, like, oh, exotic. That's what they said. It wasn't like, I knew from the start, okay, there's gonna be people anywhere that might be racist or something.
Yeah.
Really, Americans are probably the worst anyways.
Right.
And then, so I knew from the start, like, to not take it personally. But yeah, anyways, so I started out just physically looking different. And then the culture, just like, everyday things that you would think, oh, this has got to be the same. No, it's the complete opposite. Even shopping in a store, like, you would have to check out on that floor before going to the next one, or like that section, like, and we would get buzzed at and set off all these alarms and Japanese.
Really?
So like little experiences that like you don't know until you're there, and there's no way to know them until you do it wrong.
Right.
But there's also so many things that you'll find in that culture that you will not find anywhere else in the world. So safe. I think I told you I ran a marathon there, and I could run anywhere, any hour of the day, and never had to think twice by myself.
See, that's real amazing.
Oh yeah, and I have like 10 stories about that. Even like a friend lost a diamond ring or diamond earring on the train, and it was hours until she realized it. She's like, Katie, you're the closest train station. Can you go there and see if it's there? Like, I'm like, okay, well, it sounds like it's a really nice diamond earring. It has a few diamonds. It's probably not going to be there.
Yeah.
And I look where it was supposed to be. It's not there. I go ask the people in charge, and they said, yeah, it's here. Here it is. Somebody turned it in. And cell phones, wallets. I left my purse on accident on the back of a chair for 20 minutes one time, 30 minutes. It was sitting there when we came back. Like, just all these stories. So, yeah, safety is crazy. Something else that was really cool about their culture, community, and just being a part of a team, whereas in the US it's very individualistic.
Yeah. And
it's every man for themselves. Generally speaking, business, every man for himself. Even in corporate America, you have to work to get yourself at the top.
Right.
Just generally speaking, but in Japan it's all about your team. So as I was teaching the group fitness classes there, an example of this team effort would be the first few classes, like everybody would wait, and they weren't talking or anything, but they would all be there. And I kind of left because, well, 2 of the 3 classes I taught every week, they didn't speak a word of English, so I just didn't even know how to involve. So I would leave, and then finally after like a month or 2, I'm like, I guess I should stay and see what's going on. Well, they all help clean. After every class, they mop the floor down. They help do this, they do that. And even if they aren't doing something, they're there supporting the other people who are working. So I started waiting the last year and a half. So there's a lot of examples of just teamwork and
like, okay, so for example, with that, so you waited a couple months to to stay back.
Yeah.
When you started to stay back, how did they receive that?
I think it was just normal. They didn't really do anything. I found one girl who could speak English, thankfully, and she would help kind of involve me, and I would practice my broken Japanese.
Okay.
But even though I don't know if it was expected or if it was like, this is the teacher, they don't clean. I don't know. I would offer to clean, but no one ever let me. But yeah, people were always working, mopping the floor quickly before the next class, but you waited till it was done. So yeah, it was really cool to kind of remember, you don't only have to look out for yourself, and like, just like you've said on your previous episodes, and just like loving others and everything, going along with that, like, just help each other. So yeah, this life is so deep. It's way it is not about you. It isn't about you. And it's like it's really easy to forget that. Especially in the midst of like struggle or pain or anything that we go through like that. And so that's really, really cool. I wish everybody could experience like a life where we just help each other. And do for one another selflessly. Even, were you there for that Crossroads series last summer about like something about good neighbor, something like that? Were you there? And it's just like, you used to call your neighbor to take you to the airport. Or for a cup of sugar or whatever. Now you call Uber, like, you don't knock on their door, and why?
And they said, how many of you know your neighbor's names? I know one of my neighbor's names, and we call her Little Bit. That's not even her real name. You know what I mean? I don't know anybody else's names because none of the people are friendly. That's a whole other story. I mean, we live in Kentucky, and my life is a little bit different than, you know what I mean? But they don't talk to us. you'll say hi and they just look at you. So it's like, it's just weird nowadays.
Yeah.
I remember going outside when I was younger and I could literally talk and play with anybody.
Yeah.
It's weird how, I think a lot has to do with our like phones and stuff.
Oh yeah, technology. Yeah. Maybe that was the series, or that was the next series. Last summer they did technology. Yeah.
And it's
definitely,
that sucks though.
Mm-hmm.
What was the least thing you didn't, or what was your least favorite thing? I guess I could ask you that way.
Well, I mean, I guess I would say this isn't my least favorite, but it was definitely a huge growth point, was being outside of my comfort zone every day in every aspect. Whereas it takes a lot more effort to step out of your comfort zone in the US, in a culture and every day that might be very similar in day-to-day basis. So I think that was definitely a good thing, but uncomfortable being out of my comfort zone. Even from when we first got there, I started teaching group fitness for the first time in Japan. And so already just kind of doubting, how am I doing, that, and then within a month starting to teach in Japanese too. So, and then the same week I started teaching group fitness, I started teaching private English lessons.
Oh wow.
So it was like, for a good month or two, just totally uncomfortable overall. I don't have an education background, but because I was a native speaker, they kind of were willing to give me a shot. So yeah, I think comfort zone, that's just out the window when you move to a culture that's so different. And I would love for everyone to experience the opportunity, or even having a foreign exchange student. My husband and I have talked about how we would love to have one down the road.
That's actually really cool.
So just being able to experience and be around people that are different than you. That was also something else that was really good and uncomfortable. Was that you're around people that are different than you all the time. Even though you might be around foreigners, it's probably rare that they either have the same beliefs, have the same background growing up, have the same anything really that you do or did. So I was challenged in many ways, good conversations and bad ones where I'd want to go home and cry. But it really kind of helped me grow in my, not even confidence was a huge growth thing for me in Japan. I felt like I moved there with not a ton of confidence, and I moved home like, okay, I can figure this out. I did this, and I didn't know if I could. So confidence was, I'm really grateful for that kind of growth over there. So yeah, there's a lot of, I wouldn't say there was anything I disliked, but I have friends who had harder experiences too.
True. Okay, Japan seems pretty dope. That's like one
it's
of those
worth
places.
the trip over. Save money, save vacation.
That's awesome. So, okay, so you lived in Japan. You do the wabi-sabi thing in the middle of oceans. Well, in Oceans, you started off with a different idea, and then you went back to wabi-sabi because that was already your thing. So throughout this whole last almost year, you've been going from one idea to the next, trying to focus on wabi-sabi the most, especially during class, because that's what you paid for to get. And so then almost a month ago now, you decided to do the podcast?
Yes. So
let's talk about that.
Sure. I am launching a podcast. Lauren, you were a huge inspiration, so thank you.
Of course.
So it's going off of wabi-sabi threads, but a little bit different. So it's launching, it might be out already when this is live, but it's called Flawed and Fearless, and it's very similar meaning to wabi-sabi threads, but I was specific in choosing English words. One, because if you come across it in iTunes or podcast or whatever way you're listening to podcasts, it'll be audio only. And you'll know in English what you're expecting to get. Flawed and Fearless. You don't have to need a translator.
Right.
So yeah, it's Flawed and Fearless, and same thing, just kind of asking women, how do you embrace your imperfections? What's your favorite failure? When's a time you felt unbalanced? Just kind of seeing the realness of people as online. That's kind of my thing too, that online you just see the highlight reel so many times.
Right.
And that's not real life. You need to be able to talk about when you've not been on this high, or you've not checked off that next box. Or, so yeah, just kind of showing that we're all humans, and and even like not being intimidated of each other. Maybe there's somebody who looks like they're farther along in their business, or they have something you want, or further along in the relationship or something, but really you can still relate in some way. So yeah, that's where we're going with the podcast soon.
How has that been going for you? How are you feeling taking that next step? Because I know that one of your things was like, I don't know how to be on camera. I don't know how to show my personality. I don't know how to brand me. Like, you know how to brand things, but you didn't know how to brand you. And so now you're branding you, Katie Sharp. And so how are you feeling doing that? Like, how are you feeling? You've gotten what, two interviews down? 5 interviews down? Holy Jesus! Where have I been?
Yep. Last one was 2 days ago. So I have 5, which until we launch, I'm putting on pause. But it's been good just realizing like still just be my authentic self, and like I said, you really inspired me from you launching your podcast, and you did it quickly, and the same thing, it's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. If I'm trying to preach that, like, I need to actually live it out and just put my work out there, even though I know where other people might be. Don't compare myself to professionals who already had hundreds of thousands of followers and already are making multi-million dollars in revenue from their business every year. Yeah, they can invest in expensive equipment. Yeah, they can invest in a special sound booth, or all these people working behind the scenes. So far for me, I'm recording on my laptop in my living room, similar to what we're doing today. Just being accepting where I'm at, and I would love for it to grow, and I would love to continue to grow a community of women who support each other and are not in a competition, and just are real and authentic.
What makes you want to focus on women?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. That's a great question. Let me see if I can wrap it up briefly. Well, I mean, there's still a gap in the workplace, obviously. We know the statistics. And just the different gender expectations, or even when a woman has a child, the expectations are going to be different when they go back to work. So even a conversation I had with my husband this morning or last night, he was saying how there's 2 women in his group, male dominant field, and they've had kids recently, and they've both been out multiple days this week. I was like, well, why haven't the dads taken off? I had 100 questions for him, and he was like, hey, I'm not saying anything, I don't know if the dads can take off. I was like, well, I don't know if I'm okay with this situation. I was like, I'm just trying to make breakfast, and you tell me this story. I don't know how I feel about it. I just don't think it's totally equal yet across the board in many aspects.
Would you consider yourself a feminist?
So I took 1 feminist class in college, 1 or 2. My very first interview for Flawed and Fearless, she majored in feminism.
Okay, I didn't know. I literally didn't know that was a thing.
Yes. I'm pretty sure her major was. Sorry, Sarah, if you're listening. I don't know. I feel like there's a hard line, and I'm not afraid to cross that line and offend people really anymore. I used to be afraid to have people not agree with me, but I'm getting past that. I think I'm almost past that. But it's not that and that's the other thing. Feminists don't hate men. That's misconception there. So I guess in some ways, that's a great question. I'm going to do more reflecting on that. Would you consider yourself?
Absolutely not. Only because, see, I'm a really strong female, so I'm super independent and all of those other things. I believe in our rights and stuff like that, but I also do believe that gender does play a real role in real life. So, should women get paid less? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In those aspects, I am for it.
Yeah.
But then you have the extreme feminists who are like, well, I should be able to walk around ass naked and you can't touch me. And it's like, yeah, that's true, right? But be realistic.
Yeah.
Be realistic.
Yeah.
You know, reality is a mother, and the reality is that you just can't do that, male or female.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if you're a female walking around, guys might look, and if you're a man walking around, you're gonna get the cops called on you right away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a difference in the way things are treated, but at the end of the day, I just think that there's just some things that it's just not equal. It's just not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't need to be equal in everything.
Yeah.
And especially when you go from the perspective of well, we need to be equal. It's okay, we need to be equal, yet you're still a feminist who wants your man to do his duties and do the yard and his duties and take out the trash, and you want to have your duties where you just cook and you just clean, and you know what I mean? So it's where does the feminism line begin and end? And it's it can be really extreme, and it can, I wouldn't consider myself a feminist only because I do believe that it's just not equal. It's just not.
Yeah. Well, I still want the door held open for me.
Right.
And also, if you're Christian in the Bible, I mean, it kind of says, the man is the leader. There's a different roles.
Right.
And so I feel like I'm still forming my own beliefs on all of that and really figuring that out.
Yeah. And I had to for a while too. I went to the Women's March last year.
Oh.
And it was really, really good. It was so powerful. Yeah, it was so powerful. But some of the signs, I'm just what? Y'all are crazy. Yeah. Some of you guys are crazy. And I just green, purple. Okay, yeah, I can do green, purple.
I don't have to show anyone on camera this mug, correct?
You have to.
I'm gonna have you finish it.
Yeah, this is mine so far.
Beautiful.
Love wins. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out all my own beliefs and stuff and that kind of thing too. Yeah. You know, society pushes what you should believe so heavy on people, and it's it's hard to have your own thoughts and opinions on things sometimes.
Yeah. Yep, for
So,
sure.
I don't know. So, let's say you're having a really, really hard week, okay? You're not selling any kimonos. Business isn't just really going how you think that it should or what you projected for the month or the week or whatever. How do you maintain a positive attitude through that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Because I currently am not where I want to be in business. So, I mean, I and any business owner, if you need to accept it, and you have to analyze all the changes and improvements yourself. So I'm still learning that, no one's going to be holding my hand saying, oh, you need to do this, you need to improve your SEO, you need to fix that website, you need to run an ad. It's all me. So yeah, it's kind of a challenge, and I'm still learning that. I don't know. I'm in the middle of a transition. I did a lot of outdoor and weekend markets last year.
Yeah.
Last year was the first full year we were in the U.S. So I was at City Flea 4 or 5 times at least. And then I started doing some more indoor pop-ups as the weather started to get cooler at shops. I did a vintage shop in Lexington and one in Cleveland. I have another one in Lexington coming up mid-February, and those are way easier. It's not as hot. I don't have to roll everything out. But I am transitioning from doing the majority of my sales at these weekend markets to try to do more online. So that's kind of where I'm just gonna have to have some grace with myself in this transition, and thankfully my husband's really supportive of me, and I've learned so much, just like you did going through the ocean course.
Yeah.
Even though I'd already had my business for over a year and we went through that program, I learned a ton. Like the finance chapter especially, like, I like math, I don't mind it, and I thought, I've already got mine figured out, like how much I can make and how much I can spend, and the website costs this costs this, and I have to pay all these credit card processing. I know what my profit margin is. No, when I go to these weekend markets, that's another reason I'm slowing down with those. Like a trip, I went to New York, parking's $80 a day, then your hotel, then this. The booth could be anywhere from $75 to $1,000 just to have a space at that show. So adding up all those numbers to see how much you even need just to break even in any business, all your costs and how much it takes just to break even, then you have to pay yourself, then you have to make money. It has to be worth your time. And then if you're going to reinvest in the business, and what's left? So thankfully, this business, I didn't risk thousands and thousands of dollars like other businesses, or raising money. When you raise money, like, you have a lot more on the line, and people and opinions. So this has been such a good learning experience for me. We like to call it in my house real world grad school. 100%. I've been in real world grad school for almost 2 years now, and I still am very hesitant to start new things, because now I have not all, but knowledge. Yeah. And I know more than I did 2 years ago, and I know how much time it's going to take and how much money. And
which, isn't that so crazy how the more we know, the more intimidating it gets, because you're like, this is not as easy as I thought it was before I knew anything.
Yep. I was so naive 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I love to dream, so, you said I have all these ideas. I do, but I'm staying focused, and I'm really waiting to which one is going to be the best way I can serve people, and actually have a sustainable business from it, not just a hobby, because I feel like at times I thought of Wabi Sabi as a hobby, and that's what it was when I thought about it like that. So just did that answer what you asked me?
Yeah, so at this point, what are you're just focused on? Wait, actually, what happened with the so the guy who runs Oceans, his name is Scott Wise, he came in one day and he just kind of gave us all of these ideas on what we should do. He told her she needed to get published, and
I'm getting published in
February, which is amazing.
Finally.
So you went to that interview and everything already?
Yeah.
How did that go?
Christmas. It was good. It's coming out. What's today? The 31st. It's February. 2 local issues in Lexington, Kentucky.
That's amazing.
I might be in print. I'll know in the next few days. So I'm really excited. It took me a while. I felt like I was dragging my feet, but I also had to be patient. So I learned, to get some recognition or whatever, you're probably going to have to put yourself out there as you're just starting out. Yeah. Unless you're already a big known name, then somebody will find you. But if you want that publicity and you're not a big known name, that's the point of getting publicity. It's okay to reach out to people. So that's what I did.
Okay, so even with that, so you had to reach out to these people. So I pretty much all my friends are artists of some sort, or you know what I mean?
You had a few your first episodes.
Yeah, like
too.
Everybody I kick it with on a normal basis is like a painter or a drawer or a musical artist.
Awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
some sort of creative.
Yeah.
And I find it that they find it hard to just put themselves out there. Like, they don't want to be like sending their stuff constantly to people, or you know, and it could be a fear of rejection, or it could just be like, well, maybe it's not humble for me to put myself out there instead.
Yeah.
So how did you overcome like being in your own head about you, your product, who you are, and what you have to offer?
Yeah.
And how did you put that aside and go get this interview? And you know what I mean?
Well, first of all, I don't know how the music industry works. Like, I don't know how they do pitch. Right. But yeah, this was a local publication, and I still have a whole list of other ones to contact, but already helping the publisher and having something written. Like, what makes your story interesting? Like, why the heck should people read it? So mine was, well, how did this girl who lived in Japan with Japanese kimonos, what's she doing in Lexington?
Right.
So writing something for them, even if they don't want to use it, was something I learned through learning all of that. Just having something written up.
And by having something written up like that, they take you probably more serious.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, she's really trying to get published. She's not just trying to have us do something for her. And
and for this one in particular, they didn't end up using it, but I had it written.
Right.
So yeah, that was kind of the first step. And then you asked kind of like, how did I overcome that like mental or whatever obstacle? Because like I said, I realized if I don't reach out, they don't. How are they going to find me anyways? Like, I'm still growing. I'm still a new business, and this is kind of my first thing. I didn't have anything previous to this, so I had to do it. Otherwise, no one else will for me.
Right.
So that was kind of how I finally just sent the email, and it was worth it. And I'm gonna learn how this one goes, and if anything down the road, I can help somebody, or I have something else to kind of promote, or some way to serve other people.
Right.
Now I kind of know how to reach out, and if you don't get a reply for 10 emails, maybe the 11th one, somebody will reply, oh, we can't publish it. What? They're gonna say no, but it's okay.
Right.
That's business. If you want your business to grow, you have to pitch to somebody.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get no, but just doing it in a nice way and not pushy and no pressure. That's kind of what I say at the end, or no pressure, no worries if this doesn't work out.
Right.
But here's my thoughts.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I've been in a lot of boutiques as well, all over Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, Lexington. When I've traveled in Dallas, Phoenix, California in the last 2 years, and I have pitched my kimonos, and only, I guess 2-3 have worked.
Mm-hmm.
But out of 50,
all of those,
50,
yeah.
And that's okay. Just
right.
Be nice, don't be pushy, and
right.
How was I supposed to get those 3 if I didn't go in those 50? So
but when those 50 turned you down, was it making you feel like maybe I should give up?
Sometimes. And it depended on the person, which that's something else I've been learning this week, especially. Just negative people, not letting them affect my mood.
Right.
And especially strangers. I feel like that's the hardest part for me, is strangers.
Me too, because I'm like, you don't have any idea.
You're not even in my life.
Yeah, what are you, like?
But, and then we don't know their life either.
Exactly.
We don't know their life. But it's like, it's a two-way thing. I'm like, why am I letting that store clerk, or this person who's not even a friend of mine, impact my hour or my week?
Yeah.
And so I'm learning that. So that's kind of also through these boutiques that I've done. There was only one boutique owner that was like really bad, and I had 2 friends in there with me, and they were like, wow, she was not nice. And I was like, okay, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, she just kind of yelled at me and kicked me out, and I was like, I literally did nothing. So you just realize there might be not nice people at some places.
Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things is like when you become a business owner is learning how to deal with rejection.
Yeah, yeah. Did you feel like you had that with the dog walking business yet, or?
No.
No, because that one was kind of.
Yeah, only because no, that's why it's like it's hard for me to I can relate on things, but it's hard when it comes to the dog business because I'm so good at it.
Yeah.
And I had already had years in this industry when I decided to step away from the working for somebody else and do it for myself.
Yeah.
That all my clients, like, they love me so much and I love them so much that we really never have issues. I've never had a client be like, well, I'm not going to go to you anymore. Like, the only time I've ever lost a client is if the dog has died or they have moved away.
Yeah.
And so in that, the only rejection that I've ever seen was literally I was going to give a girl at the dog park my business card and she was like, no, I'm good. I'll never use you. So, and I was like, oh, dang. And that was actually right when we very first started going to Oceans, and they were saying you need to talk to all of these clients. So I went to the dog park and I thought, okay, I'm going to talk to these clients and, you know, I'll give a business card, and if they don't want me to walk, I won't. If they do, cool.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't even take my card, and I'm like, dang.
That's okay. That costs money. I'll take it.
Yeah, like, dang. Like, I didn't know. Honestly, that was really the only rejection when it comes to this dog business that I've ever felt. But I've felt it in other areas, like, you know, doing photography and things like that, you know. And
was that the only business card you tried to give away?
No.
Okay.
Everybody else takes.
Okay, so you have. Okay.
Oh yeah, everybody
so you
else
didn't let
always.
that one know.
Yeah. No. Her dog would have loved me. It's her loss.
Yeah, that says a ton about you. And I've said it before to you with your clients and how you haven't lost anyone unless circumstances.
Yeah.
That's huge. So yeah, that's really
but in photography and stuff like that, it's different.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you feel it in those areas.
Yeah.
And I haven't felt rejection even with doing these podcasts. Actually, I felt more love than ever, but you can still feel rejected by the people in your life who aren't watching, who you know they should be, or they're not sharing and they should be because you always support them. So in those types of aspects, I feel rejection. But
and you think certain people that support you in other things will support you when you start a new business or a new project. But no, or people who say they will and then they don't.
So that's the type of rejection I have felt. But I mean, I've never really been told no, just because what I'm doing is just so simple. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm helping you like, and plus my prices are better than like most people's prices when it comes to the dogs and stuff. So, but I definitely feel though, like the rejection part of it is just something that comes with being a business owner. And I know that if I decide to take the next step into actually owning a location, that's when I will start to feel the rejection and things like that coming along. Or when I start asking people for investments or things like that I need.
Scaling it for sure.
So I don't really know how I'll deal in that situation. You know? Because I'm afraid of rejection. I don't like it. I would rather just like not talk about it and move on with life than to be rejected and told no. Dude, I was literally the kid that my parents would tell me no, but they would tell my sister yes. So I figured it out. Go ask mom and dad if we can have ice cream tonight.
You would tell your sister.
Yes. And it was always yes. So I figured out sending, and that was something at a young age, sending someone else to be rejected or to get the yes. And then if they're rejected, I don't feel it. But if they get the yes, I feel it. So that's something that I'm trying to work on.
I mean,
because
we have feelings, so I agree.
It's a crazy thing to really self-reflect, to be a business owner and to be a good business owner with integrity and a genuine heart, and you want to give back and you want to do things the right way. It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It would be much easier to say, F everybody, I'm going to do this for myself, and nobody's going to see profit but me, and this, you know what I mean? But it's not like that for you or I. And so I respect what you're doing. And I love you so much because every meeting that you come to, you're always like happy. You're always sharing ideas. This woman has more notes than anybody I've ever seen in my life.
I do have some notes. Well, if I don't write it down, I really forget it.
But
this notebook is
she carries
full.
like 3 notebooks.
Yeah, I only have 1 today.
How many did you pull out the other?
like 5.
Yeah.
Oh wait, not this one. Oh wait, I know it's in this one. That's kind of my life overall. It's organized chaos.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. I get a lot from my mom.
But it works, and it's like, you know, you can go back and be like, oh, well, this is what you said last meeting, and this is what you said. Dude, even the guy who runs our meetings come to you for the notes from our meetings. Like, so I appreciate that because that's not something that I do or that I'm good at. It's not my strength I'm more of a listener. I can listen directly, but I can't like write and listen because then I'm focusing on writing your last thought instead of the present thought, and so I can't really do that. But I respect it because you're able to come back and ask people about things in their lives and like remember, even if it's only because it's written down. It makes it seem like you really genuinely care.
Well, thank you. I do, and that helps my memory.
But that's a big thing because, you know, a lot of people, you know, like we said, they don't care. They are there for themselves. And so I appreciate that. What else?
Pretty much shared all my cheat sheet notes here. Wabi Sabi podcast.
I love that. We've actually gone over a lot today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Let's show our mug. I know you're not done. She's not done. But this is my mug.
Beautiful.
Love wins.
I like that.
And there's a sun in the corner too. For the light.
Pretty gold. Love it. It was fun.
It's simple. I wish I was more creative. Like I wish that
a blank canvas sometimes harder than coloring in the lines.
Yeah, I know. I was like going up in Michael's like, should I just get something where we can color the picture or like what? But I feel like this makes you think and it makes you like, I mean, what are we gonna do? Yeah. So we have the Mod Podge to put over it, and it makes it dishwasher safe.
Oh, awesome.
And so you can put it in the dishwasher, or you can do whatever you want. You know, I used this the other day for gluing a puzzle together.
Oh.
And it works wonders.
Wow.
So, Mod Podge. Get it. This stuff is awesome. But thank you for being my first activity on Positive Living With Lolo.
Thank you. Thanks, Lauren. This was fun.
I'm really excited. I will put in the thing below when your podcast will drop, and then we'll put a link up for yours.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yes, Katie is so amazing, so I encourage all of you to follow her. Even just before the podcast comes out or whatever, I'll post a picture of us today, and then they can just start following. Because you're like one of my favorite as humans, because you're so awesome and you're so sweet.
Oh, you've inspired me so much, Lauren. Really.
That makes me happy.
Always talking about you.
And I just love it because I feel like we had such a small class for Oceans where I'm like, I don't know if
we were the only 2 girls.
Yeah, it's 2 girls, 2 boys, and but all 4 of us are just so perfect.
We're different, but we're still the same.
It is amazing. I love my class. Mm-hmm. So shout out Monty and shout out Chuck. Y'all are amazing. Shout out Oceans because they brought us together and they're a great program. I would suggest it to anybody.
Even if you're not a Christian, right?
Yes.
The faith and business piece, but it kind of just briefly goes over faith for part of it. More business focused, but you just have to be open-minded to hearing about it.
Yes.
Yeah, so any of their monthly events, I miss being in Cincinnati for their monthly events.
Yeah.
Longer trek, hour and a half to make it.
I haven't really been to too many monthly events. I went to their like first ocean thing that they had like back when it was
Like 7 years ago?
No.
Because I went to the first one when it was still unpolished.
Yes, unpolished.
Yeah, that was like 7 years ago.
Wow.
At least 6.
Yeah,
At least 6.
I went to the first unpolished one, and then eventually just got into oceans because I eventually lost because there was so much going on in my life. But yeah, it's an amazing program.
Yeah.
I am not Christian. I
Oh.
do go to a Christian church.
Yes.
Listen to Christian music. But the faith part that they touch on in this class is really just how to be a good business owner with a heart.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to say next, not to interrupt you.
Yeah.
But so Scott came down to Lexington in the fall, and I don't know if you knew this, but how Ocean got started, they're an accelerator program, and basically there's a ton of accelerator programs all over the US, especially in this startup world we live in today. And the top 1 or 2 accelerator in the country, the first day you enroll in their program, and it's the same thing, you have to apply, very selective, they choose you, they usually give you a small investment of money, and then they train you through this accelerator. And I don't remember if it was the first or second accelerator, day 1, this is what they say, and this is what differentiates Ocean. So you need 2 things for your business to succeed. You need to be the greediest and the most fearful. And so from day 1, they're teaching you need to be greedy in business or you're going to fail. You got to be greedy. You have to be fearful or you're going to fail. And so that just like set me on fire. Like, no, I'm going to be telling everyone about Ocean, even if you don't have these same religious beliefs, because just being a good person.
For one, fear is like anxiety just waiting to happen, especially in business.
Exactly, but that's what they're teaching these businesses. The top ones who've applied and won this position are learning this from day 1 of this program. Isn't that terrible? Yeah.
And to be the greediest,
when he said that, I was like,
how do we change the world, Katie? How do we change? Like, what is happening? Why can't, like, dude, I swear, I just don't, like, how is it that all, like, okay, so they got all of their power, they got all of their money to create these programs because they were greedy, right?
Probably.
But, like, I'm trying to, like, really, like, that's, like, evil, just teaching evil, teaching evil, and it's like, and they're doing it with so much money to push behind, and, like, I really don't understand, like, how do you get that far being that greedy? Like, that's what I don't understand.
Well, I mean, they're probably not happy either.
Well, and that's what I'm saying, like, how are you, like, how can you be the greediest and yet happy? Because I find so much happiness in giving and in serving and in loving that I don't why are we building companies to be more greedy and be fearful? Like
No.
I cannot wrap my that's the first 2 things that they're teaching me.
Yeah, I know. When I
can't wrap my mind around it.
I am going to be advocating for Ocean for the rest of my life. No matter where I end up, I'm going to be advocating for them.
Got to.
Yeah. So,
Didn't
mean
so
to leave you on
so y'all heard
mad
it here.
note, not to leave the board like.
Well, because we gotta change. You know, us being the
can,
change is a big thing. Oceans being the change is a huge thing.
Yeah, everybody has some power to change that light wherever you're at.
Yeah.
Even if you're in corporate America, not just a business owner.
Right.
And even if we're just little business owners, that's still some power there. So
yeah.
Yep.
Well,
bigger businesses down the road. They're growing.
Yeah. Well, I challenge everybody to pray for these people because they need it. Our country needs it.
I think we should cut it here.
We all need the prayer. The country needs it. But man, our businesses though, like for real, because we we gotta be better.
Yeah.
You know, if we took imagine if every business took a part of their profit and gave it to people. Like,
Yeah.
how amazing
Yeah.
our communities would be doing and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
More
Definitely.
selflessness and more love.
Definitely.
That's what we're leading.
Yeah.
What is your one piece of advice to give to the people for living a positive lifestyle and being an entrepreneur in this day and age? And being a woman entrepreneur at that.
Let's see. Positive living. Well, when you say that or ask that on previous episodes, the first thing for me would be gratitude. And even if I'm nowhere near where I want to be in my business, still being grateful for where I'm at. And whatever situation is going on in your life, there's still something to be grateful for. You're alive. All of these things. We have a roof over our head. We have this technology to shoot this right now. So just trying to be grateful every day. So that would be my advice and something I try to live by.
Do you journal?
I try. Yep.
Yeah.
Maybe half the days right now.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I've been doing 10 things I'm grateful for ever since Tony was on.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I do remember her saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been working on that, and it's funny because when you ask other people, like, give me 5 things you're grateful for, they'll be like, oh, it's so hard. And I'm like, what?
Anything.
So one of my friends, I've seen him for the last couple mornings, and I'm like, name 5 things you're grateful for. He's like, friends, family, a job. You know what I mean? Like, it was very generic. Then today I'm like, name 5 things you're grateful for. Can't be the same. And he was like, I have nothing. I'm like, well, you could be grateful for the socks that are keeping your feet warm, for your friend who you're staying with, or for the couch that you can sleep on, or the bed that you get to sleep in, or the tea that you're drinking. Like, there's literally, and it gets down to, like, in my notebook, I'm writing the stupidest stuff that
they're
I'm
not
like,
stupid.
They're not. But when you're just looking at them on paper and you're just like, okay, like, I'm thankful for my coffee cup, or you don't. It's like, but if I'm not going to be thankful for my coffee cup today, I'm just going to be thankful for the same exact things I was already thankful for yesterday.
Yeah.
But this is actually an amazing thing because I can drink my amazing warm coffee out of this and it doesn't burn my hands because I get to hold it. So the coffee mug is perfect and I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
But really, do we think about that on everyday basis?
Yeah.
And if we're just doing 10 things we're thankful for
Generic,
every couple
vague.
of months, they're very generic, very vague.
Yeah.
But when you have to do it every day, you're breaking it down into the littlest things.
Or a conversation or
Or
that
for a
kind of strange.
specific person.
Yeah.
You know, like when you said my friends and family, I'm like, okay, but what friends and family?
Yeah.
Because I know you're not thankful for all of them. You could be thankful for all of them, but you're thankful for all of them in different reasons and to different degrees.
Yeah.
So who are you thankful for today? You know?
Yeah.
So you get really down and into it when you have to do it every day. So that's where I've been at, and it's been really, really helpful.
That's cool.
So
on your mindset and everything.
Yeah. It's been really helpful.
Yeah.
And it's also making me see like how many things you really can be grateful for.
Yeah.
Down to like a piece of grass or a piece of dirt, like all of that stuff means something.
Yeah.
So that's been cool. So I'm glad you said the whole gratitude is like positive living because I think that's like the core.
Yeah.
Really,
and you've made
grateful.
such a conscious shift in that direction in your life. So that's really inspiring.
But it's hard.
It's taken effort just knowing what is the past look like. But it's possible with a little bit of effort and just awareness.
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool.
Definitely. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you, Lauren. Thanks for having me. Can't wait to share this with my friends and
I know, and I can't wait to share your podcast. I'm geeked. I might have to, the week your podcast comes out, I might have to just put mine on hold and we can, I'll put yours up in my link in the bio and stuff.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll do that. That way we can promote yours.
Oh,
that makes me so excited.
Thank you for your support always.
Well, that was Positive Living with Lolo. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, all of that. I never asked you guys to do that. So if you watched to the end of this, please do so. I would appreciate it.
Yes.
So much love. Adios.